Nobody's talking about this 4% differential player in FPL with the best fixture this game week. Also, why are people selling Victor GYOKERES? In today's video, I'm discussing the top transfers across FPL and giving you my opinions on whether they should be transferred in or out of your FPL teams. So, let's get into this. I mean, we have to start the video off with HAALAND, of course. Just before we do so, if you're brand new to the channel, welcome. I make FPL videos to help you guys at home, and by just clicking that little red subscribe button, it helps me out a massive amount. If you do enjoy today's video as well, consider dropping a like. But HAALAND to kick things off. The data is unbelievable. The fixtures for the next 3 to 4 weeks look really great as well. I mean, what's not to like? He's had an unbelievable start to the season, and I think he will keep going on this path of just scoring goals and doing what his job is for Manchester City. But are we missing something? Is he actually potentially injured? I don't know what's going on, but are we all just bringing this guy in for him not to play at the weekend? We've had this come out from Pep Guardiola, saying he's got a back problem. He hasn't trained, he's getting rested, and of course the team lineup has came out for the cup game this evening, and he's not part of the squad. But also other, big starting 11 players aren't involved either, like Reinders. I will say that Phil Foden is included, so potentially look out for him getting reduced minutes at the weekend. But HAALAND isn't in the squad, he hasn't trained. Pep said he's got a back issue. Is this something that we need to be looking at? I'm not too sure. I don't think so. I think HAALAND will play at the weekend, and it would be much easier for Pep to rest him at the weekend if players like Marmoush or Cherky as well, if they were both available. There could be a situation where HAALAND would have been rested for this fixture, and either one of those two players would play in place of him. But I feel as though with the lack of forward options, he's maybe going to have to play, even if his back isn't fully healed or something like that. We don't really know the extent of this so-called injury, but I do think he will play. I think when it boils down to everything, I think HAALAND will play against Burnley at home at the weekend. My worry is the back issue will continue, and maybe he comes off early in the Burnley fixture. But right now, we can't say too much. We're not certain on the extent of the said injury. It's not really an injury, it's a knock, if anything. But yeah, we're really waiting for some good news from Pep later in the week. And my God, I really hope he is available, because a lot of managers have hit that wildcard button specifically to get this man in. And if he's not available, there's going to be chaos in the FPL space. It does make complete sense to follow HAALAND with the man you're probably selling to afford him this week. It is Mohamed Salah. And the one thing I can say about Mohamed Salah right now in FPL, as an FPL asset, he's been alright for me personally. I've captained him the majority of the season, and it's just, he gets the job done. The returns are there, but the data, how Liverpool are attacking, it just doesn't look great. And with Crystal Palace away and Chelsea away for the next 2, if you can afford to get rid of Salah and possibly bringing him in later down the line, even past these fixtures when we get to game week 12, when his fixtures really start to kick on and look much better, I think it's a good option. I think it gives you time to kind of analyse Liverpool as a team. Are they starting to figure out their attack a little bit better? Are they looking more fluid? Is Salah looking more dangerous? Hopefully so. My plan currently is to wildcard in game week 8 and bring Salah back in and sell HAALAND. But if HAALAND continues on this trajectory and Salah is still looking like this extremely wide and non-threatening player, he does look threatening, of course, in the games. He's scoring goals, getting assists, but he's not the same Salah we're used to. And for 14.5 million, I feel as though HAALAND's definitely the better asset to own right now. I just feel like in game week 8, I'd love to captain Mohamed Salah against Manchester United at home. He always does quite well against them, but yeah, I think selling Mohamed Salah right now does make sense in FPL. One of my favourite players in FPL right now to consider buying this game week is NDIAYE from Everton. I mean, his ownership is still pretty low. He's classed right now as a differential under 10% ownership. I don't think this is going to last long, though. I think he will creep up as the week goes closer and closer to the deadline. His data's pretty good. His defensive contributions, by the way, are incredibly high. And of course, if he gets that within fixtures, there's a two extra points for you. It's always nice to have that with a player, and especially when you look at Iliman Ndiaye, he's an attacking player, he's an attacking midfielder role, he's on the right-hand side, he's causing problems for teams, and he's also getting defensive contributions. I think that's a good mix in terms of FPL points and potential points, and with the West Ham fixture coming up this week, I think it's quite good. You will notice that the fixture difficulty colours are slightly off-skew in the bottom here. Man City would definitely not be a green fixture for Everton, especially considering Jack Grealish won't even be able to feature within this game. And of course, Sunderland later down the line and Fulham would be different as well. But yeah, across the board, Iliman Ndiaye looks like a really interesting pick right now in FPL. And he's probably the person I would buy in place of Mohamed Salah this week to afford Erling Haaland. So definitely one to consider buying this game week. I hope you all watched this Chelsea and Manchester United game just to see how stupid of a decision it was for Sanchez to come out of his box and just clatter Mbeumo completely. The issue is he's back for game week 6, and I know a lot of people are selling them, and it does make sense to sell them in my opinion as well, because you don't want to keep it like that in net in FPL. If they're going to go make mistakes like that in the fixture, they're going to concede goals, and Sanchez is prone to making mistakes in net for Chelsea. The thing I would be cautious of is Chelsea's second goalkeeper, Jorgensen. He could easily start for Chelsea. Easily, and Sanchez could get benched at any moment, and Maresca has said this in quotes in the past. What I do think is the likely scenario is Sanchez will actually start against Brighton at home, but I don't expect a clean sheet within this fixture. And then you obviously follow that with Liverpool at home. It does make sense to perhaps move on to a better goalkeeper. I think the move would probably be to get David Raya this week if you can afford it for his good run of fixtures coming up. Of course, Newcastle this week isn't great, but selling Sanchez, it does make sense in FPL right now. Gvardiol is my differential player of the game week. Not a lot of people are talking about him, and he's 4% owned. He is a Night Managers approved pick. If you aren't too sure who Night Managers are, they are the best performing FPL algorithm in the game. I'm partnered with them this season, and if you use code FPLMugs with the link in the description, you'll get a 2 free-week trial to their services, and if you do enjoy their services, you'll get 20% off your first build month. So if you've had a bad start to the FPL season, you're looking to get back on track with things, I would consider checking them out. But considering they've picked up Gvardiol as an amazing pick in FPL for this week, I spoke to the founder about him, and I just don't think a lot of people are realising that he's played back-to-back 90s. The fixtures in the short term look really good, and longer term look really good as well. He's going really under the radar right now. I mean, Man City picks as a whole, you could consider as sort of rotation risk, but I feel as though Gvardiol is one of them players who's been really integral to Manchester City's success in the past few seasons, and I really like him at 4% ownership. He's cheaper than 6 million. Not a lot of people are buying him right now. At 4%, it just seems like a little bit of a sneaky pick right now. I don't know. I don't have the pleasure of having the free transfers in the bank to go ahead and get him this week, but I'd be considering him on a wild card for sure. Or maybe you do have some free transfers in the bank. But yeah, Gvardiol for me, a differential opportunity this game, especially against Burnley at home. I mean, I had to talk about EKITIKE in this video. I mean, why on earth would you take your shirt off for that kind of goal? To get red carded and then actually go ahead and be suspended for the game week 6 fixture against Palace away from home. You could tell Arne Slot was absolutely fuming with him, and there's some really funny quotes from Arne Slot come out about EKITIKE. I'd recommend going to read them and just his reaction to why on earth EKITIKE has done this. But it does put us in a really interesting situation for EKITIKE owners in FPL, because what do you do with them? Do you keep a hold of him and hope from Chelsea away from home he continues to start for Liverpool? Or is that time enough time for Alexander Isak to starting for Liverpool? I think it's really difficult to tell, but I don't I don't disagree with people selling him right now in FPL. Of course, he's not going to play for you this week. It might let you rotate into perhaps a GYOKERES, who's got really good long-term fixtures, or potentially a João Pedro, who maybe has some difficult fixtures for the next 3 weeks, but does have good longer-term fixtures as well. It has been an important asset for Chelsea so far this Premier League season. So I don't disagree with people selling them right now. I think Isak will eventually come into this Liverpool squad and be the starter, and this actually just might be the opportunity. EKITIKE might have really done himself dirty here and give Alexander Isak a chance to catch up and actually beat EKITIKE to a starting place for Liverpool. I've mentioned his name a few times in this video, and you'll see that he's been transferred out by a lot of people, but he's also been transferred in by a lot of people as well. Almost the same amount of transfers in and transfers out for Victor GYOKERES this game week, but more so transfers out. And I just don't really get it. Like, yes, I understand Newcastle away is a hard fixture, and I don't really expect him to get a return in this fixture. Newcastle, well, according to the data, are the best defence in the league. I would say Arsenal, in my personal opinion, are the best defence. But it is a difficult game for Victor GYOKERES in Game Week 6. But beyond that, Game Week 7 onwards, the fixtures look amazing for Arsenal. And he's going to be playing up front for Arsenal. He's most likely on pens. I think there's an interesting conversation to be had about penalties for Arsenal, because there hasn't been a situation this season when Bukayo Saka and Victor GYOKERES have started together in the Premier League and been on the pitch at the same time when a penalty has been awarded to Arsenal. There was the Leeds fixture where Saka wasn't on the pitch and Victor GYOKERES went and scored his penalty, but I think it does make sense that GYOKERES takes penalties now for Arsenal. It's just kind of up in the air of, well, we actually don't really know that for certain. But still, Victor GYOKERES is definitely a hold for me in FPL. I don't get why people are selling him. Maybe in a few weeks' time, people who have sold him will come back in the chat and be like, yeah, I was right to sell him just before the good run of fixtures. But saying that out loud, you're selling him before the good run of fixtures he's coming into. I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to sell Victor GYOKERES right now. Tomorrow you can expect my team selection video, so make sure you're looking out for that. But I always like to say a massive thank you for all of the support on today's video and the channel. Of course, if you aren't yet subscribed to the FPL Mugs YouTube channel, go ahead and do so for future FPL content and deadline streams. And make sure you like today's video if you enjoyed it as well. But that is everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.